I have two little plush guys that I won from round one, which is an arcade out here.
Oh,
I have Kirby. He's just hanging out. But then I also have Waddle Dee, the little orange bad guy.
That guy rocks.
And somehow freaking Waddle Dee, like they're both in this like bookcase I have, but Waddle Dee is like peeking out at me right now.
Oh, that's creepy.
He's like leaning out and looking at me with his sweet brown eyes.
Take a picture, please. Let's see it.
yeah, dude. Waddle Dee's watching you jerk off, man. Waddle Dee's like wants to know.
It's like Ceiling Cat.
Ceiling Cat.
Remember Ceiling Cat?
Let me see. Classic
internet.
Ceiling Cat was a classic cat meme. That was good.
That was good, innocent internet right there, you know?
Good, innocent internet. All right, you guys are going to get this right now.
Let's see. Are you texting it or are you sending it in Discord?
I'm going to send it in Discord.
Okay.
Okay.
I did want to say they just opened a round one here, and having just gone to Japan and going to round ones in Japan, every like crane game has incredibly cute stuff in it. But the one in Philadelphia, oh my god, he really is peeking out, and that's adorable.
Yeah, well, these crane games, because I have a Yoshi, a Kirby. I actually won 2 Yoshis when I got this Yoshi. And I have a Kirby, Yoshi, and a Waddle Dee. And it's because the crane machines at round 1 you can actually win stuff out of.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's an actual chance to get those.
And the thing though, is they opened the one in Philadelphia. It's great. It's got all the stuff, but I don't know if it's like they're waiting on stuff, like they just opened it and they just got like local shit to fill the stuff, or if they're going to never have Japanese quality plush, but the stuff is not as cute. I'm assuming they did market testing and they were like, this is what people in Philadelphia will want to win. None of it is as cute.
It's just a bag of batteries.
Oh, yeah.
A bag of batteries, like a loaf of pork roll. Real, not like a plush pork roll. It's just a real loaf of pork roll.
A sling made out of cable wire, you know? Like...
yeah, weapons made out of trash.
Dom, I got to say, I love that Crunch basketball. That is incredible.
Oh, yeah, that's the jam.
A Nestle Crunch basketball.
I haven't taken my Nestle Crunch basketball out to the court yet, but when
don't
I
ever.
do,
Keep it fresh,
it's going to be special. It's going to be like playing with the ABA ball at the All-Star game.
Well, this is a dumb question. Do they still make Nestle Crunch?
I don't know. I haven't seen one in a while.
Of course they do.
Hold on, let's say Nestle Crunch.
I haven't seen a Nestle Crunch in a gas station in quite a mini moon.
Well, they don't put that one front and center because nobody likes that crappy candy.
What? Oh, hold on. Now I'm about to take that Crunch ball away from you.
Yeah, wait, you have a Crunch ball, you don't
steal?
like a Nestle Crunch?
I think Nestle Crunch is fine. I think Nestle is a really evil company, but
sure.
The Crunch logo is just so classic. I love the basketball for the camp or the pop culture reference, but I have to say that Nestle Crunch, probably pretty low tier if I wanted a candy. Pretty low. Bunch of Crunch, on the other hand, not so bad.
Bunch of Crunch is awesome.
I always wanted to secretly put Bunch of Crunch in a bowl of cereal and just eat that.
That's a great idea. That's an incredible treat.
Chad, it's not a secret anymore, baby. The world knows, so you better just freaking crunch up.
I looked up the Crunch bar because I needed to see if it was still for sale, like anywhere, and it was on Amazon. So I can buy from 2 evil corporations if I want to. But I found this new bar. If you click on the link I just sent, it's a Snickers Crisper, which I've never heard of.
Ooh, hey.
A Snickers Crisper.
It looks like it's a Crunch bar mixed with the Snickers.
Look at this. In this super long fishing link that Paul sent us in Discord.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Well, the Crunch, I think the Crunch, Paul, is not in the chocolate. I believe it's a layer of crispy at the bottom.
Yes, you're right. It is. I see them.
Sounds great, though. You know I love that crisp.
Oh, yeah.
I do too. I enjoy all of these kind of like variety candies. My secret theory is,
let's hear it.
Is that at some point the candy men in their corporate, penthouses were like, chocolate's too expensive to make, even though we're not even making it with like cocoa anymore. Chocolate's too expensive to make. What can we just like fill the bar with, like packing peanuts?
Right. Like nougat, which is just like it's just like glue. It's just candy.
Yeah,
glue.
yeah. They just like have nougat on the floor of their candy stores, and they're like, I guess we could just put some of this in here. I'm like, sure, but people are gonna get sick of nougat. Like, well, we could make like bread into air. We could make crispy air. And that's how a lot of this came around.
You know what's funny is you're right, because it's corn. It's just corn. They're like,
it's just corn.
Yeah.
We have so much corn and soybeans just sitting around that we're like, just find a way to make people eat this shit.
Make a new variety. put some raisins in there. Just see if they'll eat it.
Yeah, Milky Way now with more corn.
You say that, and then again, like I also would kind of like want to give it a shot, you know?
Yeah, why not? I mean, the Snickers Crispy sounds great. I looked at that, and that's good. Hey, underrated cereal, and then we'll get on to some Goosebumps talk, because we're just tangenting on sweets now. Underrated cereal, Corn Pops, guys.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah. I finally came around to Corn Pops the last couple of years. They're pretty good.
I think, as you get older, you're just like, simple things are good for me. And then you just enjoy it.
I love my simple corn.
Gotta have my simple corn.
Gotta wake up and have flat corn today.
Yeah, freaking smooth corn. Yeah, let me get a bowl of smooth corn.
Well, nothing, suppresses my sexual urges like a bowl of sweet corn.
Yes, of course.
Is that what you have?
That's an old Goosebuds topic.
Is it? Have we talked about this on Goosebuds?
That's like year one cornflakes masturbation. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Wow, I can't remember half the shit we said.
Might have been like a stay out of the basement we talked about.
Probably.
It might have been the very second episode.
It's funny. Someone, let me pull up their name. Someone on Twitter sent me a thing. They were listening to an episode, and I guess they wrote something down in their notebook as they were listening, and then they rediscovered it. So it was Kelsey Heater on Twitter. Shut up, Sprinkles, and she had written down knives. Okay. Paul 2019. So that's from this year, and I do not remember what the reference is.
I have no memory of you saying that.
What the hell was that even in regards to? Knives. Okay.
I mean, we must have been talking. We talked about knives recently. Pretty good. We had a pretty good knife talk because we were talking about how knives are scary.
Okay. That's true. I think you're right. I think we were talking about how it's like the scariest way to die would be knives.
Didn't we say like the most powerful supervillain is holding two knives?
Again, I don't remember us saying that, but I agree with all of it.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I hope we said it because it should be recorded in history, that brilliant observation.
Yes, forever. By the way, welcome to Goosebuds.
Welcome to Goosebuds. We read the Shrunken Head. How I got it.
Hey, we all read it this time, right? Right?
Yes, we all read the book.
We did read it, and
good.
I like how this book ends. Like the title is the ending of the book.
Yes. Yeah. We finally get there.
It's a How I Met Your Mother.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh
my God! It's
it
wow.
Is.
Wow. How I Met Your Mother ripped off our
They stole the concept.
I gotta say, all right. So right off the top, guys, let's talk about this. This is in the vein of the Mummy ones, correct?
Yes.
Like
yes, it is a
not the Brendan Fraser Mummy.
No.
We've seen this trope before. I think even Monster Blood kind of takes this trope at some point where it's like my parents are actually I don't know if Monster Blood does that now as I say that out loud. Also there's a Monster Blood 4, I realized. I had no
idea. We got more Monster Blood in our future, yeah.
Yeah, we have one more Monster Blood coming.
Yeah.
And no, this is used again and again. The Mummy books. There's another book where it's like my uncle's. Freaking Snowman, Pasadena.
Yes. The go away. One. The travel to a foreign location one. They're fun because they get us out of boring children lives, right?
Yes, I like how this one starts suburban. It starts real suburban. I actually really like the first chapter of this book because it feels really real to being a kid.
Just the argument over video games.
Go ahead. Why don't you guys lay out what's going on in this first chapter?
Tom, please.
Gosh, I can't remember his name now, but he's got two friends, Mark, Eric, and what's the other kid's name? I can't remember. But Mark's at his house playing on his computer.
Mm-hmm.
Playing a video game. Do you remember the name of the video game?
Jungle King.
Jungle King.
That's and at first I thought it was going to be like a Donkey Kong thing, but it's not. It's Pitfall.
It's Pitfall with some added elements.
Yeah, it's probably the most, from what they describe, because I think RL is just like adding shit to this game all the time. It's like a design document that would be Pitfall for the N64 on an SNES. You know what I mean? Like it just kept going like, oh, there's rhinos you can ride, and
this would be Pitfall if it had feature creep like to the max.
I think I think I've got this. Somebody played Pitfall on the Atari, maybe RL in quotation marks, and then they saw the fucking bomb ass Donkey Kong Country coming out and making all types of noise. And they saw on the commercial you could ride a rhino in that game, and they were like, all right. fucking, that's what you got to do in this game. You got to collect shrunken heads. You got to avoid sinking in the quicksand, and you got to swing on vines.
That's what I was thinking was Donkey Kong Country immediately when I was reading.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty inspired. But anyway, they're playing this game. They're playing the computer game. You know, Mark's really into it. Eric and forgotten name of other friend.
Other friend.
Yeah. It doesn't matter because they don't come into the story at all after like this chapter.
Right.
They do, but they make it sounds like playing at a friend's house. Because he's like, let's freaking play March Madness. Come on, let's play the March Madness basketball game. And he's like, nah, man, Jungle King.
And Mutant Football is brought up too.
Oh, yeah, Mutant Football, which is a real game.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's right next to RL does this. He references things to the point where you don't know if he actually knows the reference because it's between three things that aren't real. Like Battle Solitaire, which actually sounded dope.
And then Battle Solitaire was like one of those jokes. It was like an RL joke where I was like, all right, RL. That one was okay. That one was
okay, but I really do want to play Battle Solitaire, where at the end of the game you kill yourself.
Well, I was picturing like a Tetris versus or like a Mean Bean Machine, where it's like, yeah, as you solve a row of solitaire, you're sending your opponent more cards to solve. I don't know exactly how it would work out, but there's something there.
That's a pretty good. I mean, I think you did a good job. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's some good like internet solitaire. That's somehow making solitaire into a multiplayer game, which is insane. But you just did it.
They did it with Tetris 99. I'm just saying it's possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But did you play the Nintendo 64 Tetris game?
No.
No. Why?
Because what you do in that game is as you progress in the game, then you unlock like tours of like worlds. Like you just select Egypt, and then it's like this 3D render. Like
whoa,
you're flying through Egypt, and like it's really interesting.
Like an old like flight sim map of it.
Yeah, I think the idea is you build the monument. Like, I think you build the pyramids, like you unlock it as you make lines over time playing the game. And then you go on a virtual tour of it. And it's just like an FMV, or not FMV, but a cinematic where you're just flying through the pyramids.
Hey, not bad.
It's dope. It's pretty dope.
I did want to say, I liked how close RL got to kids actually playing games. Like you were saying, Dom, like it felt like an afternoon. He watched his kids play video games, right? And
yes,
and he definitely captured what their vibe was like when they were playing video games. But he did still have his like old manisms where he didn't truly understand it. Like one point, he talks about how Mark is playing the game with his face 2 inches from the screen. And anyone who's played video games knows that is not an optimal way to play video games. You would not be able to survive because you need full peripheral vision of the whole scene. You can't be pushed up against it. That's totally him being like, these kids with their faces against the screens.
Yeah, he tried to boomer us down a little bit.
He tried to knock us down. He tried to boomer us down, yeah.
But, playing the game, he's playing the game. His friends are like, let's freaking play these other games. And then he's like, no, we got to play Jungle King. And then his friends are like, let's just go outside and skateboard. He's like, freaking no. And then
I've never identified more with a kid. I've never identified more with a kid in the Goosebumps book than Mark who wants to stay inside and play video games.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But he falls. I'm trying to find it here because I'm trying to find the exact phrase that he yells. But
Kah-Le-Ah.
Kah-Le-Ah. He falls on the game. He falls into some quicksand. And he says Kah-Le-Ah. Like, and he's like, it's just some word I made up. It's just some jungle words.
And I'm glad that Chad, you just did it. It's Kah-Le-Ah from Indiana Jones 2.
Oh, shit, I just realized what it is.
It's the exact same thing. It's Kah-Le-Ah, but he changed one syllable.
Oh my gosh, by the way, guys, can we talk about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? When I was a kid, me and my brothers really liked that one because we would try to take each other's hearts out and say words. Yes. And I watched that movie before Christmas. Like I was packing orders here, and I had my VCR, just watching some tapes.
Yeah.
And I put that movie on. Oh my god, that movie is so annoying. It is just screaming and bad jokes the entire time. It's awful.
It's definitely like, I feel like the first and third ones, they had ideas, and they were like, well, we got to get to number 3. I got the plan. I know what's going to happen. 2, we just need to make a placeholder until we can get that third one written and finished.
And not to pick on her, because I'm sure she's fine. The love interest, who is also like the director's wife or something.
Yeah,
she she's more badly written than her being a bad actress. Yes, but she is literally screaming the entire movie.
Yes.
Just complaining, and she doesn't want to be there. And it's like so different than Marion Ravenwood, who's so fun in the first one.
Right. The evil woman in the first and third, that turns on him is way better because at least they have some sort of agency to themselves.
It's somehow the hot Nazi in the third one is still more likable than the woman from the second one. No, it's not. Let's not.
Let Kevin just have like a record scratch there and a musical interlude, and we can come back to this conversation. The last thing I wanted to say about that character is, not to get on too much of a tangent here, but just like Ghostbusters, how you rewatch Ghostbusters and you're like, wow, Bill Murray is really not taking no for an answer. This is problematic. Like that character is like just really offensive if you care anything about women's rights and such, or how women are portrayed in media. It is like the most helpless, hapless character, and it's so frustrating to watch.
Oh yeah, it really is.
Anyway, so he says these magic words, and he's like, they're just some jungle words I made up, and it's all well and fine. This book actually starts out pretty solid. It's just, that happens. The kid, his friends leave. Jessica, his little sister, is about to have her turn on the game, but there's a knock on the door. So he goes and answers the door and sees... I pulled open the front door and stared at the grossest thing I ever saw in my life. Classic Goosebumps
chapter break,
cliffhanger.
Baby. Oh, yeah.
I stared at a head, a human head, wrinkled and leathery, about the size of a tennis ball. The pale, dry lips were pulled back in a sneer. The neck was stitched closed with heavy black string. The eyes, solid black eyes, stared up at me. A shrunken head, a real shrunken head. I just wanted to give that intro because, obviously, the centerpiece of the book is the shrunken head.
And we get it right away, which is satisfying for a Goosebumps book. Usually he holds it off for
we get it right away, and it starts acting magical pretty quickly. Sidebar, I did look up the wiki for shrunken heads just to make sure.
Thank you.
I had some background reading on it. And, the real thing, really prepared this way. A little spooky, ain't it?
It is spooky, and the spookiest thing about all this is he receives, and I'll skip ahead a little bit, but we can go back to the storyline actually. But he gets this head, and then it's shown that him and his sister play with it, and it's disgusting that these two children play with a dead human's head the way that they do.
So the process was, and I'll just go through some of the process here, is that basically they fillet the skin from the skull. And then they put it in they place a ball inside and sew it shut and boil it, also boiling it in herbs and other things. And then, through that process, the head shrinks around the ball, and then you have the small head.
Okay, so here, dumb question, or not dumb question. This is
no dumb questions. No dumb questions.
Dom, I'm glad you did this because the whole time I was reading this, I need to look this up, and I didn't. How is the skull shrinking?
It isn't.
Well, they fillet the skin from the skull.
Oh, of course. Okay, so they're taking the skull out.
Yeah,
so they're just playing with flayed flesh.
Yeah,
boiled flayed flesh. They're throwing around some poor person's old skin.
Yeah.
Old skin and face. Let's say specifically face skin.
Face skin. That good old face meat. Yeah, I get that. You shrink that down. Okay. That's right. There's always stitches and stuff. So they're like mummifying the head a little bit.
Yeah, in a way. But it was I guess it was a bit of a trophy thing.
Yes.
And so, Mark receives this head. They're playing with it. It's gross. But Jessica scratches the head by accident. And so there's a visible scratch, which will come into play later.
Jessica, Mark's little sister, who is also kind of calling out hey, it's kind of weird that Mark gets a gift and I don't.
It is pretty fucked up. She's right.
It's really kind of strange.
Mark gets a gift and a vacation, and she gets jack shit.
Yeah, well, at first he gets a gift, and then that evening, the gift begins to glow and float around, and then there's a whole moment where he gets the mom, and the mom, of course, it's not happening anymore. But the next morning, he wakes up, and the woman who brought the head,
Carolyn.
Carolyn, right?
Mm-hmm. Carolyn, yeah.
It is I guess she works for Brenna, which is Aunt Brenna, Mark's aunt, who's in the jungle, basically doing a bunch of scientific research, and she has come to deliver this head to Mark, and surprise, Brenna wants you to come to the jungle with her. And so Mark then leaves on a plane to a smaller plane all the way to the jungle.
And by the way, I just want to add, like, when I read this kind of stuff as a kid, I think even more as a kid, I was like, I can't believe they just let, parents would just be down to let your child go to the other side of the country.
It happens all the time in Goosebumps. It happens all the time. It rules. Yeah. It's what you want as a kid. You're like, gosh, I wish I could just like go somewhere.
Yes, and this one is definitely a little bit of a power fantasy. Not only in that he's sent on an awesome adventure, but later on we find some more stuff. Unlike the Mummy, so the Mummy books were like this, where it was just like an adventure fantasy, right? Like you're saying, Dom, where you're like, I want to go to a cool country and see some amazing shit, and they get to do that. That's what this one is, plus a little extra.
Why don't you elaborate on that, Paul?
Well, I mean, okay. Well, there's magic. There's motherfucking magic in this book, but we don't want to get into that yet. So on the flight to what's the name of the island that they go to? It begins with a B. It's a real place.
It's like Banana Boat.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's not.
The island is not called Banana Boat.
Balladora. There's a lot of A's in it, so I see you. I see where you're coming from, Chad.
I knew that you weren't saying it was called Banana Boat, but it was very funny.
I'm saying the island is owned by Banana Boat Sunscreen, and there's billboards everywhere when you land.
Probably.
I see.
On the flight, Carolyn is asking Mark all kinds of questions about his aunt and how he saw the thing come to life at night.
Yeah, she was like, if your aunt went into hiding, where do you think she would go? If your aunt was threatened, if your aunt was being threatened, I don't know. What do you think? What would she do? What do you think she would do?
How well do you know your aunt's fears and desires?
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about this detail because, this is on the flight, a 9-hour flight to the other side of the country, which also seems kind of a short flight, but maybe it's just me.
Well, he does make it be one chapter, so it is pretty short in relation.
It is a pretty short flight, but he describes it as, so we're on the flight. I'm just sitting there going, he doesn't even seem like he's reading anything. I think he's just sitting there.
Well, he said 3 movies played back.
3
movies. You're right. So they're that's a good at least 6 hours.
Which Arl missed a great chance to either make up titles of movies or reference something he saw in the newspaper. But it's like not until after he's watched 3 movies seemingly that Caroline goes, Your aunt visited you when you were 4. You don't remember right much. He's like, yeah. He's like, did she ever give you anything of interest? And he's like, no, I don't remember. And she's like, and she just goes back to work. I was like, this is kind of late to ask that question. Right. Like, this should have been a in-home in America conversation.
Well, she's already got the precious cargo, which is
the head and the boy.
The child. The head. Yeah. The head is important too, but she seemed to be in control of that already. She's the one that brought it over to him.
Right. That was a lore.
It's true, but they also are unaware of they don't seem to be aware of the head's. Well, I guess they are. The head's importance is strange in this. They give it as a gift, and this is jumping ahead for a second. You find out that the heads can reveal if you have magic.
Well, it connects with his magic. The head.
Yes, but and she reveals this to him that he has jungle magic, right? She just straight up says
Does she say it right away that he has jungle magic?
It's pretty, I think shortly after they land, they have a conversation about how
it's right
Mark has jungle magic, and it's like, oh, that's new. That's news to me. I mean, really nice tactic here, Come up, show up with a gift, be like, hey, we got to go back to the jungle, abduct the child, and then freaking tell him a lie and be like, hey, you got greater purpose, man. He gets reverse on the road to the cult. This is like on the ride to the cult building.
Yeah, he gets reverse Harry Potter in this. He gets the cool part after the kidnapping.
You're a jungle magic Harry.
There's just one detail on the plane. I always pick up on little stuff from RL's life that you can tell annoys him, and he puts it in as little details. And the one little detail today, because he flew a lot. He was flying to New York to do his meetings with his publisher, I'm sure. And he had to fly, and he talks about how she has difficulty opening the plastic thing around her utensils. And I'm just like, I just know that RL hated those little plastic condoms that they put around the utensils. And I love finding little details like that where
his fingers were all worn down and calloused from
all the writing,
typing on a freaking typewriter, and then he tried to open those things, and the calluses would just slip around.
Would pop open
the plastic. He'd have to use the fork to stab through the plastic.
Yes.
Can you imagine RL just sitting on a plane, fuddling with plastic Tupperware, just complaining and grumbling the whole time?
I imagine
RL
sitting alone on a plane that's empty, crying a lot. I think about that a lot.
Yeah, me too. It's a sad vision I have every time I read one of these books.
While we're talking about plane travel, I do want to call out, for whatever reason, this cliffhanger that really bothered me in an annoying way. So they get off their continental flight or whatever, intercontinental flight. Oh yeah, well we're going to Banana Boat Island, Baldora, where we gotta get on a separate jet, and you meet his name's Theodore. I can't remember. He never comes back in. Ernesto, thank you. He never comes back into the story at all. He's flying him there. It's unsure if he's an employee of this place or what. But he's flying them there, and he's like, "Oh, hey,
Chad, you know what? You just said he never comes back, and I agree. Real quick, we'll come back to this. They set up a detail when they land on the island that it's an hour flight from the mainland. That is a perfect opportunity to have some tension where they have to call Ernesto for an escape, and they never use it. They never use that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, exactly. I was feeling that same thing of you want to feel tension that you're either trapped here or it's gonna be hard to get away. But Ernesto does not even a good version of a prank where as they're flying over, he's like, all right, well, I don't know how to land this plane, so you're going to have to jump.
Get to jumping.
And it's it's not even close to a believable, cliffhanger lie.
If you're going to pull the prank, have a fake parachute that you hand to the kid, To put a little,
yeah, have him open the door a little bit. Have him
put a little effort into it, Ernesto.
This is where I'll go. The next step is RL, or whoever wrote this, is you're already realizing you're not going to use Ernesto anymore. Have the plane actually go down. You know what? Have Ernesto. Let's say Ernesto's drunk, and he's like, I can land this thing easily, and he can't. And the plane burns out. Ernesto just dies, but the kids and Caroline survive. And you're like, yeah, we're trapped on the island now. We can't get off, or what? Anything.
I love your dark details, Chad. Your dark additions to this.
I'm just looking for the kid-friendly version of that. Where, the engine went out. I didn't put enough water in it. That's how engines work. And then, okay, now we're stuck here for the rest of the week. Like you're saying, Paul, any sort of way to add stakes to the story.
Yeah. But they do land. They get to the island. And, or is it an island? It's the jungle.
It's a jungle island.
And they go to the facility, the camp. And Chad, why don't you take it from here, Chad?
Sure, I'd be happy to. They land in an area that they say there's they built the air runway next to their facility. So this seems like there is no other civilization other than this scientific expedition and the huts they have built. And cool, welcome to Balladora Island. And as pretty quickly we find out that there are a few other folks. There is Carolyn's brother, Dr. Hollings, I believe.
Hollings.
Call him Dr.
No, you're right. It is Hollings. I just kept reading it as Hawkins.
No, I kept wanting to call him Hawkins, and I had to write it down because I was like, no, it's not. I know you took the name Hawkins and changed the letter RL, but it's Hollings. And his daughter, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I like that you call her Kareen. I kept reading it as Kareen.
Yeah, I could not figure out. It's Kareen. I have no idea what white girl has this name.
Kareen is what I'm going to call her from now
on.
Kareen.
And maybe she's not. I just assume she's everyone in these Goosebumps books are white in my mind. But
I think that's a good assumption typically for these.
And maybe there'll be a little bit of a fun jungle romance. No, not at all. It's just, he has a daughter named Kareem. And they inform Mark that Yes, well, a detail we didn't tell you about back on the US is your aunt's been missing for weeks. And this is where you're talking about, Dom, when you're talking about the jungle magic of, and we think you can help us find it with jungle magic. We need help.
Right.
We need you to find your aunt. And already any sort of sense of like, maybe these guys are going to help us should go out the window because there's no reason not to mention that to anyone back in America.
Well, I love that they're like, your mother wouldn't be able to handle this. But Mark, you, the child who woke up in the middle of the night from a nightmare, can definitely handle the psychological ramifications of your aunt being missing in a jungle.
Yeah, and this is where I was really craving, like, I get it's supposed to be ambiguous, but they just say that they just keep referring to an event that the book never details in any way of when Mark was 4, his aunt came to visit, and she did something. She somehow gave jungle magic. And it is vague beyond the point of, like, I don't know if she literally, like, put a totem up his butt or, like, whispered a secret password up his ear. It is vague to the point that I was annoyed.
I have to just say that you went to sodomy and children immediately, really quickly.
All right. So... how else can you hide a thing on a child?
You sprinkle jungle dust.
Oh sure, you sprinkle jungle dust.
Hey there, little kid, and you rub their head, and that's when you exchange. The jungle
or you feed them a cursed cookie, Chad. Anything that sticks something up their butt. I also want to say real quick, jungle magic. Can you come up with like a cooler name than jungle magic?
It's also capitalized the entire time. Every time it's jungle magic, capital J, capital M. Treat it with respect.
There's a TM afterward, jungle magic trademark. That we're turning this into a franchise.
Hey, what's your favorite Prince song? Mine's Jungle Magic.
Jungle Magic. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could have just used it just seemed like something he was planning on finding and replacing at some point, and never did.
Yeah, he was like, that's easy enough for kids to understand.
I think at one point he's like, well, I already have used Kah-Le-Ah or Kah-Le-Ah for the name of the magic word. I can't call it jungle magic Kah-Le-Ah.
Yeah, right.
So after he is introduced to the fact that Aunt Brenna,
again, he's just taking random letters out of names in this book.
Yeah, I'm a little confused, but anyway, we got it. We're going here. Aunt Benna is missing, and as soon as he learns that, does he go into a cave? Oh yeah, it's like a research area where Aunt Benna had been working, and she had like discovered a bunch of stuff in this cave, and he's like, I'm gonna go in this. I think it's a cave.
I thought it was a shack.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of little cabins that they stay in, and he's in his cabin just thinking about the fact it's actually kind of a nice transition he has. He's hanging out with Karine, going through the jungle, and she's showing him stuff and bugs and creatures, and they're like laying in a tree on the branches staring up at the sky, and then it like hard cuts. I can imagine it visually in like a film way, like he's like looking up at the sky, and then it like hard cuts to him like looking up at the ceiling in his bedroom, like thinking about how he's gonna find his aunt. It's actually kind of a nice little transition that he does there. And he wakes up at night, Dom, and I think this is what you were thinking, awake, worrying about how he's gonna find his aunt, and he can't sleep, and he decides to get up and go look around and see what he can see in this area at night.
And he goes into her tent, and then does he fantasize? Like, is it a hallucination?
Oh, I see. I thought it was real, but I mean, it could be a hallucination, Dom, because the way you're describing
it goes from scary moment to him just reading his aunt's diary.
Yeah, right.
So is it real?
The part that I thought was most hallucination-y, if anything, was, and it really threw me, was Mark sees, again, I thought this was outside, but it's like on his way there, he sees a giant pile of shrunken heads. Like hundreds of heads on heads. And he's like, oh, creepy, because it's also like, who's just putting a pile here? But like, they're just keeping shrunken heads, I guess. But like,
yeah, it doesn't seem like they're preserving them at all or taking care of them. They're in a pile.
But also, only his shrunken head is important.
Yes.
These people are like kids that got too many toys for Christmas. And they just have a pile of them sitting outside now because they have nowhere to keep them. And they have totally ruined the preciousness of a shrunken head to themselves. It's not special anymore.
Here is my best guess the backstory they don't say is the evil researchers are looking for the special shrunken head, and over time, after they found the right one, they just like, well, we have these other shrunken heads. What do you want to do with them? I don't know. Put them in the closet, I guess. Like, we don't want to throw them away.
And the closets, noted in the book, are very small. Ran out of closet space. Fuck it. The closet's filling up. Every time I open the door, the heads all rolled out. They get everywhere.
Yeah.
Throw them outside.
We should get it's
like a compost heap.
Yeah.
It's like a compost heap.
Yes. So, yeah, but the heads glow, and I don't think it's an illusion. I think he actually sees them glow because we find out later that there's magic imbued in these heads. And he does end up back inside the main science area where they do their science, and he finds his aunt's books and begins to read through them. He goes, oh, let me go check the book for the time that she came to visit me and see if she wrote anything down about our visit. And then he finds...
Yeah, to see if where he got the jungle magic. That's what he says. He's like, I'm going to find out when I got this jungle magic.
This cool jungle magic I have, yeah.
So Mark goes through his book under just the vague chapter of summer, looking for answers of the night his aunt snuck something in him or his room while he was sleeping.
Either spoke words to him, gave him a cursed cookie, or stuck something up his butt.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Chad seems to be really hard on the idea that you can only transfer magic to someone by inserting someone into their body.
I buy that more than you can just whisper a secret in someone's ear and they have magic. That somehow seems...
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be like, if you stick a stick in his ear, okay, that makes sense. Just whisper, no, I can't buy it.
I do not believe in magic osmosis. Magic must be transferred through fluids in the body.
If you told me there's a magic suppository, if you gave me like a soul gem and you were like, as long as your blood vessels are close to it, you'll be able to draw the magic power. I'll be like, okay, so there's only a couple places I could put this, and I would understand. But if you're like,
Chad, you don't believe in the power of astrology, but you do believe in the power of healing crystals, is what you're saying.
Kind of, yeah. I imagine the power of blood transference is what I'm saying, I guess.
Sure, okay, yeah.
So he opens the book and finds out that she hypnotized him, I guess, even though he was sleeping, and that's why he doesn't remember it.
I don't know if they fully go into the details, but she does talk about how she gave him a magic ability. But I don't think she goes into too much detail because she quickly talks about how Carolyn and Dr. What's his name? Hollings are trying to murder her.
Yeah.
And they have different plans for the island, and they want to murder her, and she has to escape. And she talks about it. She put the magic into him, but he has to stay. And I'm quoting here, he has to stay 4,000 miles away.
What?
Exactly.
Okay, so cool. Love this idea, right? It is the Indiana Jones 3 of I gave the book to Indy, hoping he'll find the secret. He brought it right back to me and the Nazis, right?
Yes.
In the best version of that. But she's saying, I'm worried for my life. I will fly to America and bury the secret and then go back into danger.
Yes.
But then she's just like hiding in the woods.
Yeah, she disappears on them.
She's not like fighting back against the foresters or anything. She's not like, if this would have been like, oh, I am working with the quote natives. I'm trying to think, I don't know if that's the best appropriate term, but the natives of this land.
Yes.
The indigenous people. Thank you. The indigenous people to help them fight to hold their land and I'm integrated into their society. She's not. She's literally just like living, we'll learn in a second, like living in a cabin in the woods without anyone else doing nothing, it seems like, other than doing more research, I guess.
There's no hints as to what she's doing there, is there? She's just kind of hanging out, right?
And she's like, jungle magic will live in the memory of my nephew who will randomly yell a jungle magic phrase when he plays video games. I guess that's like what...
It's a really bad plan. Like, so what is revealed in this diary as well is that Aunt Benna's partners have decided to use jungle magic to destroy the jungle.
Yes.
That's just the broad plan. Maybe there's some Captain Planet kind of, environmentalism that is in this book that it isn't really spelled out.
There is one part where Kareen tells Mark that her dad wants to mine the planet for like minerals or something like that, like rare earth minerals or something.
I see. So there's money to be had.
That's loose. I mean, again, I don't know that that's very clearly explained. I think both plans are pretty poorly thought out.
I like the idea that somebody was a scientist and they were like, I can't make money off any of this. And be like, well, there's all those gems over there.
Right.
Yeah, I can't do anything with
What if I used magic to destroy the world so that I can, like, even the logic of that is like, if you had access to magic, wouldn't you find a better way to make money?
Can't you just magic the minerals out of the jungle, maybe?
Yes, that's what I thought would be like. The answer should have been the wording shouldn't have been looking for minerals. It should have been like, there's resources here he wants, and then you realize that Hollings wants jungle magic to become like an Aztec king. You know what I mean? Like he wants
power. He wants power.
He wants actual power. He's not gonna like try to sell it to Nestle. Call back, shoot my Nestle basketball.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Right. But instead, he's like, no, I want to be able to talk to the animals, walk with the animals.
Dr. Dolittle powers.
Dr. Dolittle, now in theaters.
Please pay us.
Again. Like, wasn't the last Dr. Dolittle reboot and subsequent sequels, like, wasn't that enough? I thought that was enough.
There was another one? I don't even remember. Wow.
Yeah, they did Eddie Murphy, Dr. Dolittle.
Oh,
they did two of them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Nah, we're gonna go back to just like this weird guy with a top."
Get Iron Man in there,
because like Dr. Dolittle, get Iron Man in there, because Dr. Dolittle was very much like the Nutty Professor. How they adapted that to be like kind of like a weird, real world practical,
right?
Kind of like, this guy works in a laboratory and this happened. It was an accident. It's like, this guy's a veterinarian and now he can talk to animals for some reason.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway. I think he's a veterinarian, but anyway, yeah. So the plans here, the plan of the bad guys, the plan of the good guy, it doesn't really make much sense, but it's got us in the jungle with Shrunken head. So I guess that's enough.
Yeah. So he discovers that they're trying to he thinks kill his aunt and use him because he has them. He susses it out. He sciences his way through it. Figures out that he has the curse or the magic inside of him, the jungle magic, and that they've brought him here in order to have him search out his aunt and I guess take advantage of this island for its powers. And he decides, I better flee. And he runs to leave and bumps into Karine, who he tells her that her parents are evil or her dad is evil. She says, no, they just have opposing views, but you're right. You should find your aunt. And
yeah, they just have economic anxiety.
There's bad people on both sides. And
there are heroes and villains on both sides.
There are heroes and villains on both sides, and we need to see. But I will help you. I've decided I will help you. And
I've decided to back Biden.
Look, I think we should be more centrist about this. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, based on the New York Times endorsement, Goosebuds endorses all Democratic candidates for president.
No. I retract. I'm retracting my name from this document.
I think the part that really threw me on not rooting for Mark anymore is as soon as Karine, for the second time, after we know what's at stake, she goes, "No, my dad's not evil. They just disagree on some things." Like, she knows what's going on here. Like, yes. She's not just a naive, I idolize my dad. She's aware of what the situation is and is choosing the wrong side. She could not be trusted. But then
she's parsing words here very heavily.
Mark's telling her everything.
She's tightrope walking this one, and it's pretty obvious.
And I think if Mark had actually had a crush on her or something, I would have helped buy why impressionable teenage boy just goes like, "Oh, I'll tell you the secret word, and here's the head that she gave me and everything."
Sure,
not the head. Sure. That's weird phrasing. The shrunken head that she gave me. Here you go. And instead, he just spills it. He tells it all, Clarissa.
Right. Well, he doesn't tell the secret incantation yet, so she takes him to the jungle.
He does.
No, not right away. because she takes him to the jungle to flee, and he flees, and she leaves him with a flashlight and tells him to go out, and she'll tell her dad that she doesn't know what happened and he can escape. And he goes into the jungle and he falls asleep.
Yeah.
And the next morning he wakes up covered in red ants. And it's some good horror imagery here. They're biting at him. They're crawling all over his hair and on his thing. And he gets up and
one is choking him.
One has
one tiny little like red ant hand is choking him.
10 times.
I was going to say it's incredible.
That's choking him.
It's incredible ant strength that's using it to choke him. And he's being choked out, and he squeezes out Kah-Le-Ah and begins to magically expulse or repulse the ants from his body with the magic of jungle, and curses them off of his body, and he realizes, I do have jungle magic, and then he quickly goes deeper into the jungle and falls into quicksand, and then realizes, I can use my Kah-Le-Ah. Go ahead, Dom.
Hold on a second. I just want to say this. As he realizes after the ants, he says, I had jungle magic and didn't know it. The word Kah-Le-Ah was the key that unlocked it. It had helped me get rid of the gross red ants. Would it help lead me to Aunt Benna? Yes, I cried out loud. Yes. He's just having a conversation with himself, brain and mouth having a conversation.
I also loved how much this was where, other than the red ants, I don't think it was in the video game. The events of the jungle are actually like a lot of them are in the video game, which I really dug.
Well, that's that's the thing. Video games train you for
murder,
for situations like this. For murder. Video games train you. It's the same thing with Call of Duty and any upcoming.
Yes, if you play Call of Duty, you can go straight to war if you need to.
I just got to say that Joe Biden today, I don't know if you guys, but just literally just said that video games train you for murder.
Oh, no, I saw that. It's like, he had an interview with like Silicon Valley people, and it's like, they're just training video games to kill people.
He's just talking, it's just what's on his decaying mind.
You guys remember Corn Pop? I miss Corn Pop.
I love Corn
Pop. Yes. Oh, coming back to Corn Pops, baby.
I wish Corn Pop had lived and not Joe Biden.
I wish Corn Pop had loved Joe. I wish he would have loved that day.
I don't know if I can endorse that on an audio podcast, as the NSA and the CIA will take us down because.
Hey everyone, I just want to go ahead and say that Joe Biden, he might be a good president one day.
Yeah, or just censor out the verb of Kevin that Dan said, that Dom said of, I hope Corn Pop blanks Joe Biden.
I wish he had blanked Joe Biden. That's what I said.
It's not possible for it to have happened because he's dead. There's no jungle magic to bring him back, Chad.
There's no. Okay, so back to jungle magic. The connection of the video game in this one was that, and I thought it was going to pay off in a little bit more connected way, was that when they play Jungle King, the video game, Mark's sister loves just diving into the quicksand and
into the sand,
and dying, which is like kind of dope. It's kind of it's that joke from what's the Simon Pegg show? Squatters, Doubles, Spaced.
Spaced, yeah.
Space, where they they intentionally like to drown Laura Croft if they're depressed, kind of thing.
Yes.
So it's like that, like cool. Now it's paying off, but he is in the quicksand, right? He is falling down, and he tries to use jungle magic on the quicksand.
Yes,
and
he does.
and he never has a moment where he goes, "Oh, well, sand's not alive, so this isn't gonna work."
He never thinks about that. But the crazy thing is, so like, okay, maybe in using his jungle magic with the red ants, maybe he shook them off his body. No, he was truly magically repulsing them because as he's caught in the sand, he does his jungle magic and he summons vines to rescue him from the sand.
Yeah, it gets kind of like
it gets magical as fuck.
It gets magical and DeviantArt-y as fuck.
Yes. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and the vine.
I mean, if he really wanted to, he could control those vines to, hold him and pet him if he wanted to. But he's got an Aunt Benna to find.
He's got stuff to do.
Yeah, he And what's the next one? He runs into a tiger.
So yes. In the game, it's a rhinoceros, Chad. I wish he had just done the rhinoceros.
I know, it's so weird that he didn't. Stuff. It's really weird.
He does a tiger, and it's funny because when he says, "Yes, I do have magic," yes. In my head, I imagined like if I were directing this as like a movie again, I imagine him saying that, and the next scene is him completely torn apart and eviscerated, and his dead face sitting there, and a tiger just eating his body, and then
as credits roll, slowly roll,
as credits load.
Image fades. We hear the tiger eating. That fades, and then taps plays.
He just at his death rattle is just Kah-Le-Ah. Kah-Le-Ah.
And then at the very end, dun, 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 dun.
But instead he uses Kah-Le-Ah to somehow make the earth split in twain, and he falls inside of it and escapes the clutches of the tiger.
Yeah, which is it's a strange rule in that, like, okay, you think jungle magic is, you have Tarzan powers. You can communicate with animals.
Right.
And but it's almost it's like a D&D spell that only has like on animals of into level 3 and lower that works. Mm-hmm. And this tiger is too strong. So it's just, let's open the earth instead to swallow me whole.
And shoves him inside of it. Yes, it shoves him inside the earth to hide him from the tiger. And it works. And then, luckily, Kareen shows up and tells him that she's been following him, which, if she's been following him, implies that she watched him fall into a pit of sand and just held back and was like, oh no, wait, let's see what happens here. And then just
let's see this jungle magic.
Yeah, and implies that she did that. Same with the tiger. She grabs a vine because he can't use his jungle magic to call down a vine again. His magic rules are very, very odd and not they don't follow a line of logic that is easy to follow.
No, I do want to just point out before we I think this is important to see how the writers write to the children. Mm-hmm. When they talk about the ground being opening up so that he could avoid the tiger. Mm-hmm. To my horror, the ground was shaking. To my horror, I heard a deafening rip sound, like Velcro being torn apart, only 1,000 times louder. They're like, Velcro, kids got Velcros on their shoes. Okay, let's go.
They can understand this. Yeah.
I also assumed that was his organs and entrails just being ripped out. And I was like, yes, kill the kid.
That would have been, again, to go right to my ending. Dun, 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 with the taps playing would have been beautiful. What's interesting is he falls onto his elbows and knees here. So we have a RLism in this book, which I think points to the fact that RL did indeed write this one.
What, the O's? The O... That one?
And the O's. Well, there's O's. He does the O, but he moans. He lets out a long moan, but he falls onto his elbows and knees. Falls hard onto his elbows and knees. Again.
Yeah, this is a signature.
That's a signature RLism. But anyway, so she gets him out of there. They escape, and she says, "Oh, you do have the magic. This is crazy." And he tells her about the word. He tells her about Kah-Le-Ah here. He says it to her, and he says, "If I say it, my head lights up, and it points the way to my aunt." So they continue to follow it all the way to finding his aunt in the shack,
into the Jack Shack.
Yeah. Oh yes. She follows. They follow the light of the Kah-Le-Ah eyes to his aunt's Jack Shack. Or
oh yeah. Well, it should be noted. that Walt Disney loved tiki. Like kind of culture, jungle culture. Oh, yeah. So Jack Shack's, kind of a tradition.
This is what I was assuming Dom was going to connect the dots. Yeah, okay.
Traditional hut.
Another thing he brought. He freaking brought to white people.
A fucking hot
hut. So in his crazy aunt's sequestered asylum shack, I guess she's building these, right? Like these are her. She made it herself.
Yeah, it's handmade. Yes, that's very clearly by the way it's described. It has leaves as a roof, a thatched roof. It has no windows, but you can see through it because the sticks she used to fashion it are not perfectly hewn and assembled together. It's very, very handmade.
And she's like, "Oh my God, it's you, Mark. I can't believe she even calls it out. I was like, I can't believe I recognized you, even though I only saw when you were 4.
She says it really weird too. She says, "I can't believe I even recognized you," which is like, I didn't like. Couldn't you just said like I didn't? I did.
Yeah, that was like at first. That was like, let me just write the sentences and I'll revise it later. And it did not get revised.
It was never revised. It was very oddly put. And there's another one. There's another one early on where they talk about. She's talking about the island, and she's like, "Oh, my aunt's on the island," and she's like, "She sure is, okay." And I was like, what the fuck? Who talks like that? Who talks like that? But yeah.
That's someone writing. That's someone writing. He's like, okay. And then they say something, okay? And we keep going.
Yes, yeah. But so it's revealed. She tells him, yes, I did put magic into you. I hypnotized you as a child. For some reason. And
I could have told my sister about this, who I trust very much. I could have told my sister.
Who would have not been easily fooled and lured to an island by presents and the promise of adventure. I could have told my sister and it would have been safe. No, I gave it to my young child.
Instead, I whispered it in a baby's ear.
Yes, I stuck it up a baby's butt and left and wiped my hands and walked away. And so she does this. Kareen, heel turn instantly, calls her dad. Her dad is around the corner, fucking pulls a gun and rounds them up and shoves them in the hut and holds them hostage overnight in the hut. Mm-hmm. And then they take them back to the compound the next day and tell them, we're going to boil you.
Yeah, that was insane. That was insane.
Like, it just ratchets up. The insanity ratchets up. He's fucking brandishing a gun, a silver pistol, and is waving it in the face of Mark and his aunt.
A giant pot of boiling water in front of them.
Yes, they come out to a giant pot of boiling water. I just assumed that they were going to make a Looney Tunes stew out of it.
I thought so too. I wanted to see that thing where Mark my favorite Bugs Bunny joke, where he like lowers his tail into the water and he's like, "Oh, hot, 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 ooh, too hot, ah." I wanted that to happen.
Me too. I was really hoping for that, but instead, it's revealed that this is the traditional head shrinking process, Dom, as you found out on the internet. That they are going to flay their heads and make them into shrunken heads, which how that will get them the jungle magic, I don't know. But they're going to do it. But then it just turns out that that Karen knows the words anyway, and that they're going. I don't know. It's not really clearly explained what their process of why they need to boil their heads.
This importantly was really throwing me. I had to read through the chapter again, and maybe then I still missed it. When they first get cornered by Hollings, when Kareen, the obvious backstabber, goes, "Dad, over here, I found them, and we decided to let you run free so that you would lead us to your aunt."
Yes.
She immediately goes, "Well, don't worry, Dad. I know the secret word, and the secret word is..." And then Mark covers her mouth.
Right.
And then she doesn't say the word to them for like another 2 chapters. And the whole time I'm like, is she still being like restrained, or is because they're walking and like going to other maybe I missed a detail, but it felt like the jig is up and she still didn't say open sesame.
Yeah, it's just like as soon as point the gun at him again, right, and then just take the hand off the mouth and then say the words. I don't know.
What's crazy about the ending of this book is that they introduce the pot of water, and then they're about to get put into the pot of water, but he needs to find, because like the shrunken head gets discarded in the pile of heads.
Yeah, he goes to use the magic. She gives him the signal to use the magic, his aunt, and he goes to do it. And then the dad knocks the head out of his hands into the pile of heads, Dom, as you said, and it's discarded.
And so he's got to find the right head, and he does.
How does he do it?
Because Jessica scratched it at the beginning.
I did like that.
So he finds the scratch.
Good job, RL. Good job setting something up early.
But here's the thing. It's chapter 28 is the pot is hissing. He needs to find the head. Which one is the right head? Mm-hmm. Chapter 29, he finds the head.
Right.
Everything is resolved, and it's the end of the book. Like that. This is the end of the book is the very next chapter. There's like there's like the separation for like, and a day passed.
Well, hold on, Dom. You skipped over a cool detail which is he performs witchcraft upon.
No. Surely. I just wanted to speak about the fact that we go from like where's the head to okay, the book's over.
right. It's very the denouement is a little quick in this one.
Mm-hmm. But go ahead. Let's talk about the witchcraft.
He finally finds the head. He holds it up. Kah-Le-Ah, he says. And they all are shrunken horrifically into mice who flee into the jungle, only to probably be eaten very quickly as they're
by snakes.
Because he's definitely talked about snakes being in these woods a lot throughout all of the chapters.
But it's not even that he turns them into mice; they are humans shrunk down.
Yes. No, I think they're mice.
Mouse-sized, squeaking angrily in tiny mouse voices.
Oh, they are humans. Oh, I thought they were actual mice. I like that even more, that they're just tiny humans that are going to be eaten by snakes.
And I guess just because shrunken heads are shrunken, it can shrink other things. It's fine.
Yes.
Red ants are going to choke them.
Red ants are going to pick them up and down and body slam them until they're dead.
Yes.
You know what would have been actually really great is they talk earlier about like before he realizes these obvious killers are here to, torture him. He's like, and Kareen and Dr. Killinger or whatever his name is, Dr. Hollins, telling me about a plant, like a Venus flytrap plant that'll totally clamp down on a bug for days. It should have been like he shrunk them down and then Dr. Hollins runs into one of those. It should have been like that.
Oh yeah, that'd have been.
You can't have adults die like.
Well, no,
that
they wouldn't be die. They die off. Yeah, they die off page like a day later. But he's just like trapped in a Venus flytrap. Like, I'll get you, Mark.
They should have gotten put inside of one of those plants, and then you heard their tiny voices coming out of it.
Yeah, then they're fine.
I'm gonna die tomorrow. But okay, so here's the best part.
The best part is the ending.
Okay.
It is the very ending where, Aunt Benna says, keep the shrunken head as a souvenir of your jungle. That way you will always remember your jungle adventure, as if you forgot the time you shrunk people down to mouse size and they ran away and you almost got boiled.
Yeah, and she also she reverses the magic out of his head, which is cool.
That's cool. That's nice.
She dehypnotizes him, yeah.
But yeah, so he's going to school the next day. He's going to school. He's taking his shrunken head to school. He can't wait to tell everybody about the shrunken head. And he feels the head move in his hand. It twitched. Huh? I let out a gasp and stared down at it. The eyes blinked, then stared up at me. The lips closed and then opened again. Hey, kid, the head growled. Let me tell the part about the tiger.
Yep, that's it.
It fucking looks at him and goes, "Hey, where's the cream filling?" That's what I thought of.
Seriously, what happens, and then the book is over.
I love that ending. Honestly,
I do. I think it's actually a pretty decent Goosebumps book. I found it interesting that because I had to buy it on Amazon to read the PDF. Mm-hmm. Classic Goosebumps number 10. And I think this is appropriate for this to put this number 10 in the lineup of classic Goosebumps books, because it's actually like you get spooky imagery, you get these little heads, which are real things. Mm-hmm. You have probably the better version of Mummy's Curse.
Yeah.
And then, you get this little freaking Goosebumps talking head at the end for the twist ending.
And if you look on the wiki page for this Goosebumps book, they marketed the fuck out of this. There's mad squeezy heads that you could buy that were the little shrunken head.
Well, it adds the interesting challenge of merchandising where how do we make particularly the Goosebumps shrunken head iconic? And it's just a shrunken head with a Goosebumps hat.
Mm-hmm. It's the thing. Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's all it is. You put that G hat on there, you're good.
Oh yeah, you know it. Yeah, how do we brand the typical shrunken head? But they get the Jacobus artwork really well in all the toys. They do a good job of like really capturing his vibe.
The cover is great. Even though on the cover the head is the size of a basketball, it is a very nice cover.
Yes. Oh yeah. Definitely.
So what do you give it? How many bumps? How many shrunken heads do you give How I Got My Shrunken Head? And that is how the book ends. It ends with the title, which is he's going to go tell everyone how he got his shrunken head.
I give this 9 shrunken heads.
Wow.
I'm going to give it 8. I'm going to give it 8.
I'm going to give it
8 shrunken heads.
I'm going to give it 6.5 of a head. I agree with you. It's a very good horror story. It takes too long to get to the jungle. But I think now upon looking back in a 1996 book over 20 years later, it is feeling very remiss to not even like touch upon any of the culture or society or civilization in this jungle, you know what I mean? As opposed to just this kind of like...
Certainly. It's only about the white people who are there.
I don't know. I just kind of wish like at least like one of this, either the workers was indigenous person and that a connection to the magic of this like society. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too like 2020 towards
at least the mummy one. At least the mummy one, like it was like local people that their uncle was working with, right?
Yeah, and there's you can see the people of Egypt are like are invested in what goes on with this tomb, as opposed to this felt like 5 Americans just running around in the jungle without any idea of what any of them are doing.
Which is probably very appropriate, actually.
That's very true.
If you switch the magical item around to like, I don't know, a freaking bear's claw of some sort, this could just take place in
the woods. In the woods, for sure.
In the jungle, yeah.
No, I'll put him up to a solid 7.
I gotta say 8 on a Goosebumps curve, because so many of these Goosebumps books hit 0 or
That's
1.
Right. That's very fair. On a curve, it's a 9.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, for your rating.
Sure. On a curve, it's a 9. On a Goosebuds curve, it's a 9. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, I gotta say it wasn't a bad one. There was some scares. There was some at least forward momentum and constant adventure. And this one, I don't know if I'm 100% positive this is the truth, but I feel like this was the first one where a gun was brandished and used as a threat.
Yeah.
No way. A gun was used in Curse of the Mummy.
I had the exact same thought. I thought there might be a gun pulled in the Mummy. I was thinking about that one.
Oh, wow. Well, how come all the ones where they go to foreign countries, guns are used this? I guess because he's doing his best Indiana Jones.
Well, I also want to just call out that despite him having a gun, one of my favorite details in this book is that when Mark covers Kareen's mouth from stopping to say the magic word, he goes, "Aunt, run!" And Aunt, what's her name? God,
Aunt Benna.
It's Benna, right? Benna. And Benna, quote, football tackles Dr. Hollings and just knocks him into a wall.
Yeah. She fucks him up. And
I was like, okay, I guess we've won. Like, she took him out, and then they just kept running through the... And I don't know.
I don't know how they get caught. I can't remember.
I think they just kind of, like, just let it happen. It felt very, like, Scooby-Doo in that regard, where everyone's just kind of, like, in a set. And like, well, you stop there because I'm here now, and you can't leave because I say so. There's a lot of like just walking with no one being restrained or tied up, and like we're gonna put you in this vat of boiling water if you don't tell us. Like, how you need a big like henchman or something. I don't know. It's nitpicky.
Yeah, you need where's the tough? We need a tough here.
We need a Mandalay or something. A big henchman.
Yes. A Mandalay.
This reminded me a lot. I would just recommend if you read this book with us, of course, if you always do that, thank you. If you want something that's like not at all Goosebumps, but another jungle adventure, I would dig up the Venture Brothers episode where they go into the jungle and run into a Dr. Quim medicine woman and Nancy Drew parallel, and it's super fun, and it's got all the jungle intrigue and magic you could ever want. It's a great episode. Venture Brothers.
That's cool.
Oddly enough, I just watched The Mummy, the 2001 Brendan Fraser movie. So 2 big takeaways. That movie is so racist.
Is it really?
Oh yeah,
it is so racist. They have an Egyptian character who's it's so bad. It's so bad. Brendan Fraser's character, you learn nothing about him ever throughout the entire film. You don't learn a detail of why he's there, who he is, what does he like. It's crazy. It's such a bad movie. But anyway, I just had to say that because we're talking about The Mummy and traveling to different places.
I have a very fond memory of The Mummy as one of my favorite kind of blockbusters. Who is the Egyptian character Benny, the like traitorous kind of assistant guy?
There's that character, and then there's like another character who like they make a comment that he smells bad at some point. It's bad. I'm going to go ahead and start plugging stuff because it's the end of the episode. We're wrapping this bad boy up. And I got to say, you got to drop by comfyjunior.com and get yourself the Paperback Paradise Valentine's postcard set. You're going to want this if you don't have a girlfriend, if you have a girlfriend, if you have a boyfriend, if you don't have a boyfriend, or if you have a non-binary partner, you're going to want to get some of this stuff. It's only $4. It's $6 shipped. You know it's good. You know you're going to laugh, and you're going to impress all your friends. So go ahead and stop by comfyjunior.com. Paul, I'm talking.
You're going to laugh and you're going to make out. That's what's going to happen. I'm just saying.
I had a good streak of like always having something weird to say there, so I just kept going with it. But thank you, Paul.
You were doing great, but I just wanted to let them know that
no, you did a great job. You really,
and they're gonna make out.
You helped me out.
Or just make out with yourself. You know what? Buy one for yourself and just treat yourself.
Yeah, buy one for yourself and then have a romantic evening of whatever you want to do. But I was also on the Boys Bible Study podcast. I talk about a Jehovah's Witness movie. They make them, the Jehovah's Witnesses. And oddly enough, at the end of the movie, they have like a Q&A with the entire cast about like, you know, there's a guy who plays a bad guy in the movie. Like he's like a guy who's fallen from faith and now he does bad stuff. And he's like, it was hard for me to play this character because that's not me, you know, but you know. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, you can find that if you just go ahead and search for Boys Bible Study. I think it's just boysbiblestudy.com. But yeah, I'm on that podcast. Check it out.
Cool. I'm going to be with Pretend Friends at a convention, or not a convention, it's actually a festival called Treefort Music Fest from March 20, I believe it is March 25th through the 29th. And we'll be performing a live recording of an episode of Pretend Friends, as well as doing a Q&A about podcasting there. So come see me, Nick and Josh from Continue, and Kevin from Pretend Friends as Pretend Friends there. It's free.
Gotta check that out. It's free.
Check it out.
The part that we're going to be a part of is free.
Wait, what state is that in?
It's in Boise, Idaho.
Idaho.
Oh yeah, so it's going to be, I think it's like a South by Southwest situation where there's stuff going on all around town, and there's a thing called Story Fort, which is Treefort Music Fest is the music festival. Story Fort is the part that we're a part of, and I believe the area where Story Fort is taking place is open to the public, so you'll be able to come and just see us if you want to. You don't even have to pay any money.
That's so much fun for our Idaho friends,
our Midwest audience.
Yeah, it's pretty far west. You could, if you're in Seattle or Portland or anywhere on the Pacific Northwest, you're pretty close and pretty reachable. Salt Lake City.
Where's Idaho?
Idaho's pretty far west.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, I am embarrassed. I forgot how far west Idaho is. I take that back.
It's west, baby.
It's up there, baby.
So come and see us.
Chad, what do you got? What do you got to plug,
do I have
Chad?
anything cool? I just wanted to say how much by the way, I've been loving the new Pretend Friends season, and it's been a blast to see you guys back in space.
Hey, there's a certain space bug that's got to show up soon.
There's a certain big brother space bug who should show up very soon. And anything else that's coming out that's really cool? I mean, there's been new episodes of Unicated that dropped. I wrote some of those on all the Hulu and CN apps. Check those out. Any ones I didn't write, they're also great. They're also great episodes.
Hey, you can find fucking Chad on TV.
Yeah, you could see a dumb cartoon I wrote. Everything else, nothing coming up in the next month, but I'm working on some stuff that'll be very exciting for 2020.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Yeah, this was great. I had a great time. We had a great adventure in the jungle adventure. We were in the video game Jungle Adventure, and now we have to say goodbye because we've got other things to do.
Okay, and hey, one last shout out. If you want to, Dob, this is important, Dob. Last shout out. If you want to support the show and get access to bonus episodes and content, you go to patreon.com/Goosebuds. We're dropping new Camp Goosebuds episodes. You can vote on which books we read, like this one. And we have an amazing community that interact on our Discord and on our Twitter. Love you all. That's it.
Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goosebuds is only possible because of the support of patrons like yourself. We want to thank Cale Clinton,
Nathan Remick,
Stefan Jive Turkey Kuwabara,
Divaldi, Joe,
Hollis Hornbeak,
Brian Hopgood,
Buddy Morrill,
Jeremy Lowe,
Cameron Murphy Audio,
Low Belly Hate Me,
Clayton C.,
Zach Connor,
David Gron,
Anxious Serve,
Fred Atkins,
Reed Stubendiek, Burn, Your Rap Stepdad, Foolish for Deborah,
Josh Robertson,
Jake H.,
Michael McDowell,
Joey Evans, Jordan Lockwood,
Mickey C.,
Valhalla Black,
Mike Lanteri,
Carewise Gamgee,
Nathan Dolezal,
Joe Spooky Digital Ghost Tierney, ooh,
Nick Hinkle,
Patreons _donator yo,
Ailcade,
Cameron Hansen,
Jared Mason,
Swag Bumps, Nightmare at Camp YOLO Squire. Dude, you're gonna get sued for copyright infringement, watch out.
Jim Greaves, Mel Dipson,
Tom Whitham,
Natu Pearl Henderson,
Danger Tits,
Joshua Lopez,
John the Howling Eye Duda,
Zankeef,
Llama Consultant,
Afshin,
Nicholas Johnson,
Danky McStanky,
Andrew Jadzak talks to Joe Para about Goosebuds. Aw, good.
Jennifer Britton,
Etonomore,
Aaron T. Strunk,
General Lee Depressing,
Brendan Rowdenbush,
Goose Time,
Dango Twists,
Lord Cornwallis,
my pal Stephen Daniels. That's so sweet.
Andrew Evans,
Victor,
Cardamom Birkenbino,
Brian Wells,
Elizabeth Steenweg,
Zenticles,
Lady Storyweaver,
Drew Applegate,
Yaya,
Becca McWilliams,
Carter Glass,
Stealth Bates,
Chase N,
Jonas Blatterman,
Daddy's Happy Apple Boy,
Joseph Miranda,
Boss Garrettson,
Patrick Reynolds,
Chris Pittman,
Robert Moon,
Dan,
Scott Colopy,
Dylan Eads,
Jason Crooker,
Just Garrett,
John Keaty,
Yoplin,
Third Sergio,
Lee Wood,
Christina Doling,
Donko 8,
Clay Castle,
Egg Baby,
Colin and I wear Billabong. Who's Colin? Is Colin your friend? Or am I just included in it? Colin, did you make me say I wear Billabong?
Hey fellas, we're all smelling real good.
Miguel Pardo.
Please let me go home. I don't want to read names anymore. Appreciate the donation, but not a chance. I want to keep reading all your wonderful names.
Still a pretty decent dog, generally speaking. Calf.
Buff Cat.
Joe, remember to save early and often. Scott.
Calamity Carl.
Matt, the half-court warlock bachelor.
Dylan McCann.
Paul Grasso.
Germ Juice.
Trans Rights.
Jonas Evan Voldson.
Walter Frazier.
Sean Minogue.
Ishak Arafin.
SNES Chalmers. Would it be Super Nintendo Chalmers, though? You should let me know.
Maddie. Matthew. Internet Conspiracy Detectives.
Alan G. Jussum.
Reinfected.
Jacob the Rough-Handed.
Sniggy Van Peepers.
Nick Johnson.
Taylor Dierks.
Arachnid Delight.
The Puerto Rican Dream.
John Pigeon Hat Barber.
Tyler Penner.
Scotty Pippen.
Alan Saylor.
Stephen Day.
Chosen One.
Kate and Franklin.
Gregory D. Warren.
Chip Handsome.
James Roy.
Dak Prinky.
Mikey Jello.
Dr. Worm.
Sam Hash.
Jared Nutty.
Aiden Alexander Dice.
Matt McClellan.
Alexander Dice.
R.L. Slink.
Alistair Perez.
Stink Lich. Oh no.
Brandon Coulter.
Zach Bush.
Dylan Vaughn.
Adam Morocco.
Jin K.
Jeremy Bowser.
Jonas Engman.
J.R. Chip.
Rich Hilborn.
Living in a Dog Dom's Nightmare. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Toothless Barry the Whistler Bostowitz.
Nathan Whitmore.
Trendy Moron.
Plushy Pal.
Joshua Jacobwitz.
Ryan Carroll.
Justin Wagman.
Sadie Kitson.
2 in the slink, 1 also in the slink, all 3 in the slink then.
Comfy System. I wish R.L. Stein were my dad. Megan McCormick Mason.
Cardboard Walk.
Andrew Barrow.
Connor Church.
Hood Lemon.
Frank N. Stein.
Horse McPowers.
Goblin Library.
Manuel Aviles.
Leviathan.
Ninja Breadman.
Ryan Shell.
S.
Tommy Obligatory Holiday Name Change Hoey. Should have done like a Valentine's Day. Tommy could have done something. It's fine. I'm happy with what you got.
Tanya Turtle.
Vincent Modica.
Wacky user name.
Luke Noodles.
Bad Vibes Jr.
Heath Robinson.
Brett.
Rug.
Daniel Hirschberger.
Zam Bambino.
Elliot Thompson III.
Alicia Grafe.
Got little old moi pretty freaked.
Anthony Kuwabara.
Lee Gray.
Brock Graham.
Robert Edward Hodgson Jr.
Hugh Bolin.
Chick.
Carl.
Creaky Slink.
Maloyster. It was fun to say. Blake Alvarez.
Russell Gore.
Elusive Koala. Jake Young.
Adam Bauer.
Paul's Christmas Sock. Jesus Christ.
Ashley W.
Boney Boss Skeleton.
Cameron.
Brooke X. Christian Van Skeever.
Coffee Table. Soda Can.
Corey Shelley.
Juan Jalapena.
Jessica Zyball.
Lord Zer.
Deja Monet.
And Wonder Skin. Thank you all so very, very much.